Welcome back to another episode of how the hell do I play WoW? I really need to adjust my language, I guess. Anyway, we're back here in Shadowglen, or Ultra Soul. I think yes, this small region here is called Shadowglen. Well, this tree over here is called Ultra Soul. Just to clear any confusing. Anyway. I'll just continue where I left off, really. So I'm continuing doing these quests, and I'll probably speed up this video a lot because I really just want to finish this zone. And there's well, before I do that, there is one thing that I am going to talk about. In the last episode, we did learn a new ability, Steady Shot. We also tried it out on a target dummy, but I didn't really explain how to use this in a rotation. And I want to cover this time because a lot of new players that start playing WoW, they don't use any rotation at all. They just spam all the buttons, and it's just the result's just horrible. And that means they often get kicked out of groups. And that's frustrating that's very frustrating for the new players, of course, that they get kicked out of groups because, well, I guess they just don't realize that there is a rotation they should be using to maximize their DPS. Now, we don't really have a lot of rotation yet because we only have 2 abilities. And as we go, we will unlock more abilities that will be a part of that rotation. But it's still a good thing to, understand what your abilities do and which order you should press what button.
Goddess, watch over you.
So I'll just speed it up from here until we get to a quest where we need to kill something.
The great outdoors.
I think we'll have to do a bit of killing here, so just gonna hand in this quest, and yes, now we need to kill 12 spiders. So, let's have a look at the 2 abilities that we have. We have Steady Shot, which has a 2-second casting time, 40-yard range, and requires a ranged weapon. A Steady Shot that causes 16 physical damage and generates 14 focus. So, what is focus? Focus is the resource that hunters and their pets have. Whenever we cast some abilities like Arcane Shot that we started out with, we have to spend focus. So Arcane Shot costs 30 focus, is instant cast, and requires a ranged weapon. An instant shot that causes 24 arcane damage. And this kind of tells us how we should use this in our rotation. So we'll naturally just spam Arcane Shot until we're out of focus, and then we'll use Steady Shot. So for now, this early on in the game, the rotation is fairly simple. And obviously, other classes will have other abilities, so just read the description and try to think for a moment how you can use this to maximize your DPS. So let's get started here with killing the spiders. As I just said to myself, I'm just gonna spam Arcane Shot until I'm out of focus, and then I'm going to use Steady Shot.
It's too far away. I need to get closer.
I'm gaining focus fairly quickly here without having to...
Is there trouble?
Oh god, that one is in the way for looting.
I can't.
Well, I don't really have to use Steady Shot a whole lot.
That's still recharging. I can't cast that.
Now, I might think that this is pretty easy, and this is really easy. It would be quite a lot of levels actually until it starts picking up in difficulty. But this is honestly this is one of the easiest games I know. The real difficulty comes when you get into dungeons, especially heroic dungeons and raids. Other than that, it's just really easy to be honest. But at higher levels, say when we close in on 100, which is currently the max level, well, it does get a little bit more difficult, but it's still really easy to be honest.
That's still recharging. That spell isn't ready yet.
What is nature's call?
And I'm just gonna speed it up here while I'll make it to this special NPC that we need to kill. I'm not sure I covered this kind of quest before, but we did get a little bit different quest here. This quest gave us a quest item that we have to use at a certain location, and you can find the quest item in your bags, or you can find it in your quest area to the upper right, just below your minimap. So just click on the item when you're at the right location, and your character will use the item. And you can listen to what the NPCs has to say if you want to know all the lore and all that sort of thing.
Mindless me. Glowing beast.
Hello.
So we're done in this area, and
Good
we're
luck,
about to move
friend.
on to the next area. As you can see on the map here, we have no more quests here, and the only quest that we have right now goes on to the next town in Teldrassil, and we need to bring the partially filled vessel over to the next town. Now, before you leave, make sure that you empty all your bags. Remember, I mentioned that you should loot everything early on in the game if it is your first time playing this game. Be sure to sell everything. If you want to, you could keep some food, maybe even some mana drinks, but I doubt you will need them. so just sell everything and then just move on to the next area. So since I'm probably just gonna be running and not do a whole lot of talking, I'll speed it up again.
Peace be with you. May the stars guide you.
You might see the green paw above that critter over there. There's something called pet battle in WoW. I won't cover that in this video series, but it does remind me about tracking. We can track certain items up here next to the minimap by clicking the looking glass. And right now we're tracking pets that are involved in pet battles. And since I won't cover that, I'll just untick that. You won't be able to fight those pets anyway, unless you talk to an NPC in. I'm not sure if any capital city works or if it has to be a specific one. But I think it's Orgrimmar for Horde and Stormwind for Alliance. Don't quote me on it though. I'm really not at all into pet battles. And here's a whole bunch of other things you can track here as well. You can track targets, focus targets, quest points of interest, which we see there on the minimap. Points of interests, I probably want to track that. Low level quests, no, I don't care about that. Then we have hunter specific tracking, like track beasts, and hunters can track a whole lot of different things, like track beasts, demons. So since they're called hunter tracking, these are specific to hunters only, right? And I actually, I'm not sure if we had this from the start or if we learned them at some level, because it used to be that you learn them much later. But we're going to need track beasts, and there are some demons around the Night Elf starting area, so I'll track that as well. And I think we'll be fighting some humanoids as well, so I'll track that as well. You can track townsfolk as well, and it's just not hunters who can track these. Everyone can track these. So townsfolk are people you normally find in cities or smaller towns, like auctioneers, bankers, battle masters if you're into PvP, food and drink vendors, innkeeper. I will track that. Not sure if I am going to use the mailbox, but I'm going to learn professions, which I will talk about later. So I'll track that. And the repairer is pretty neat to track as well. Although, while you're leveling, you will replace your gear so quickly that I'm not even sure if it's worth to repair your gear. Anyway, I'm gonna speed it up again. Well, I'll do these quests that I just picked up.
Fish with idea. Hello, microphone. Greetings, the magic.
Alright, so we just arrived in town, and I just picked up some more quests. While we are in this town, make sure to pick up all the quests you can find. And we're going to pick up some very specific professions here as well. First, I'm going to sell everything I don't need, so that's everything except for the quest items. And from this vendor, I want to buy a mining pick. That's the trade supplies vendor. So if you're if you're not playing a night elf, then you will have to find another episode on this one in the equivalent town in your starting area. So I'm gonna buy that mining pick, and that's why we need gold, because we need to spend some money to buy all the equipment we need for these things, for the professions. So the professions I'm going to pick up, and I'm going to pick that up right here. I think that there's a profession trainer in here. And here are some more quests that I should pick up.
Assist you? How may I help? Goddess, watch over me.
Also, while you're in the next town, be sure to speak to the innkeeper. Remember, we tracked him. And choose the option make this in your home. That means that whenever we use our heartstone, which is in our bags, we will teleport over to the inn that is our home. So whenever I use this heartstone now, I will be teleported right over here. I'm sure I will use it at some point, so
good luck, friend.
Nothing up there. Here's the profession trainer.
Honored.
Thought I tracked profession trainers. Yes, I did. For some reason he doesn't. His text doesn't show up above his head, despite that I tracked them. Now, the professions we want to grab, and I really think that everyone who's playing their first character for the first time in this game should pick the 2 gathering professions, and we're going to pick 2 specific gathering professions. Now, gathering professions are professions where you gather resources, right? And then the production professions use those resources to craft certain items. But here's the thing. Right now in World of Warcraft, you level so quickly that your production professions, you're just not gonna keep up with them. So you're going to outlevel anything that you can make anyway. So I really don't think there's any point in having them until you get to max level. So we're going to grab 2 gathering professions, and that's not the only reason why we will have 2 gathering professions. The other reason is that the materials you collect with gathering professions sell really well on the auction house, and how well it sells obviously varies from server to server, but you can make lots and lots of money from selling resources. So we're gonna grab herbalism and mining, because at the time of making this video, those are the 2 gathering resources that sells the most on the auction house. If you want to, you can go to a capital city and do a bit of research on which profession that sells the most on the auction house. Just open up the auction house and search around. I will cover this later in a different video.
Till next we meet.
So, if we open up our spellbook now, default P, then we have 2 tabs at the bottom of the spellbook. That's the spellbook itself, where all our hunter abilities are listed, and we have the professions tab, where we now can see our professions. So we can see here that we have herb gathering and smelting, which is basically mining. These you can just, you can read a bit of information here. We can skill up herb gathering up to a maximum of 75, and same with mining. Now, we want to drag smelting down to our action bar, because once we click on smelting, we will open up a dialog for smelting the ore that we gather. Though, honestly, I think I will remove that again, because I don't think I will do any smelting at all. I will just sell the resources as they are gathered. So I won't do any processing on them, just sell them as they are. Same with the herbs. Now, if we go back to the looking glass up here, we can now see that we have retrieved 2 new tracking objects here. We can now track herbs as well. So I'm gonna tick that. And we can also track minerals. I'm also gonna tick that. Now, the Night Elf starting area is a little bit special from the other races starting area. And that is that in all of Teldrassil, this whole region here, on this huge tree. Yes, this is a tree, by the way, and we're on top of it. There's no minerals to gather here whatsoever. So it's not until we get to the next zone, which is Darkshore, which is where there will be minerals to gather. But there should be plenty of herbs around here in Teldrassil for us to gather. And I have a quest to hand in here somewhere, and I do see another quest on the minimap that I can pick up, and definitely should pick up.
What brings you here?
Now,
Farewell. Good luck, friend.
the professions that I picked up are both primary professions. We can only have 2 primary professions at any time. So if I wanted to learn another primary profession, say if I wanted to learn alchemy to go along with my herbalism, then I would have to unlearn mining, and I can do that by clicking the unlearn button right here. Now, there are also secondary professions. These are the ones listed here: archaeology, fishing, cooking, and first aid. You can have all the secondary professions at any time. So you can have all the secondary professions, but only 2 primary professions. And it used to be a really good idea to train the secondary professions while you're leveling, but these days you level so quickly that I really don't think there's any point in doing it. Maybe first aid could be a little bit useful, especially if you're playing on a PvP server. But then you would have to keep up with the skills as well, and chances are you'll just level so quickly that you won't be able to keep it up.
I am listening. Be careful.
Also, I might do a bit of gathering for my professions off camera in between videos, just to be sure that I keep them up. Well, I can't imagine that being particularly interesting, but I'm sure I will do a bit of gathering on camera as well, so you can see how that works.
Go in peace.
And this is how flying works in this game, by the way. You need to speak to the flight master. Also, in this case, he's called the hippogriff master because his flying mounts will be hippogriffs. But if you're playing orc, it will be a wyvern master, and if you're playing human, it will be a griffin master, etc., etc. And for this quest, they want us to fly to Darnassus to hand in a quest. So you simply right click on the person. Sometimes there's a dialogue that comes up and you click on show me where I can fly, but in this case there doesn't. So we get straight to the flight map, and here we can select different areas where we can fly. We can fly over to Moonglade, but we don't want to go there, and that's pretty expensive to fly over there for us right now. We can fly to Darkshore, but we don't want to fly there either because it's a... I don't know if you noticed on the map here when I clicked it, moused over Darkshore earlier, that it says Darkshore 10 to 20. That means that Darkshore is a level 10 to 20 zone. So we shouldn't go there until we are level 20. I mean level 10, sorry. Anyway,
What brings you here?
right click the Hippogriff Master, or equivalent to your starting area, and then select where I want to fly. And the quest said we were going to, well, the quest is even called to Darnassus. So we click on
Denadris.
that one to go to Darnassus, and it will start flying in that direction until we land. And I'll just speed it up from here. So
Vishnu alert. May the stars guide you. Greetings. Ashakula. Goddess.
and we're back in Dolonar. So, well, I'll just hand in that quest as well, but I think I'll call it here for this video. I have extended the time a little bit from what I intended, but I hope you won't complain about that. And in the next episode, I'll just continue questing here, I suppose, and that means I'll probably speed it up by, well, it'll probably speed up a lot, and I probably won't comment a whole lot unless I think of something that I haven't covered that I think everyone should know. So I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you liked it. I wish you much luck in your World of Warcraft adventures, and hats off if you subscribe. Have a nice day.